Welcome to Show Studios Fashion Radio, the podcast video series exploring the remarkable relationship between fashion and music. Every week we'll be joined by fashion's biggest names and the talent of tomorrow as they share their 10 life-defining tunes and the stories behind them. I'm your host, DJ Fat Tony, and today's guest happens to be one of my best friends, but is also stylist to the stars. Stars like Lily Allen, Cara Delevingne, and even Bruno Mars owe their impeccable style to this London-based tastemaker. Known for his distinct club meets couture aesthetic, it's the multi-talented and multifaceted Carl DeVoe. Hey, welcome. I'm DJ Fat Tony and welcome to another Fashion Radio. And today's guest is a very close friend of mine. So this one's going to be personal. It's Carl DeVoe.
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Carl. I know you really well, so I kind of like see from the inside out, but to look at it from the outside in, it's pretty impressive on paper.
Oh, thank you, babe.
No, it is pretty impressive because I was reading it, I was like thinking, do I know this person? I do that with like all the like Val Garland and other guests and Nick. When you read stuff about them, you kind of forget that that's what they do. And it's like, I know what you do and you do it really well.
Thank you.
And I support you in everything you do, even when it's wrong, like friendship
No, you do.
is.
You are
but
one
that's
of the
what
most
friends
supportive
do.
friends.
But you know, when you read it back and you think, oh my God, I didn't realize he did this, he does that. It's pretty good. You know, so how long have you been doing fashion? How long have you been in fashion now?
So nearly a decade now, nearly 10 years. I've been doing fashion. Obviously, I started like 2011 with Rita Ora.
Yeah.
We used to work together. And Bruno Mars. And then it kind of just grew from there.
So was Rita the first person you styled and got involved with?
No, one of the first people I've ever styled was actually an artist called Cleo Soul. And she's part of a band called Soul that are actually doing really well at the moment. She was one of the first people I ever styled.
Okay. And what gave you the first for doing it?
I mean, growing up, I was always inspired. Like my birth mom was really glamorous. Like she loved a fur coat and like perfume and like she just used to always make an effort. And I got it from her. So I think I always had an interest in fashion. When she used to go out, I used to raid her wardrobe and put on her heels and her fur coats and stuff. So I think it all kind of stemmed from that.
Looking back on those early years as a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? What did you think, oh, I really want to be? Did you have those?
I don't know.
Like fantasy goal?
I just always wanted to be a star. I wanted everyone to pay attention to me.
That's a Sagittarius
Literally,
thing,
that was just the main goal for me. Like, I just wanted everyone in the room to pay attention to me.
But, you know, that changes over time. You know, we kind of stop wanting the negative attention and we kind of like, we want appraisal. We want people to notice us for who we are. And what age was it that you decided you knew who you were? Not decided, that's the wrong word, but when you got to that point where you thought, okay, I know who I am now.
Do you know what? That's such a good question because it's like, I feel like when I was a teenager, like 14 to like 16, I felt like I really knew who I was, like style wise with my look. I didn't really care about anything that anyone thought of me. It was more so as I got older and then moved into the fashion industry that I kind of diluted that and stripped that back and actually didn't know myself. So I'd say now in my early 30s is like,
you've come into yourself.
Yeah, now I feel like I know myself better than I ever have.
Let's go back to the first track from your childhood that influenced you in your personal, the way you are today and your personal style and taste.
So I've chosen Sister Sledge, Greatest Dancer. It just goes back to my childhood. Like my mum used to love going out to parties. She'd always bring people back. I'd be asleep and then you'd hear like, dun, 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 you know the beat when it comes in? Yeah. And I'd be like, oh, Debbie's up. She's having a party upstairs. Do you know what I mean? So it just kind of feels really nostalgic to me. And the whole era of like chic and like that 70s kind of glamour just really like runs true to me.
Kind of Sister Sledge and Chic and all that are the epitome of that time, and you know they conjure up this warm feeling when we hear that track. Does it remind you of really happy times or sad times?
100%. That was for me a part of my childhood that I was content. I had no worries, and I was actually just a child.
You were innocent.
Yeah,
there was an innocence, right?
Exactly.
Do you ever go back to that track when you're feeling like having a really bad day or anything like that?
Yeah, do you know, it's usually for me, that goes on if I'm in a good mood. And I'll put that on. And like maybe if I'm cleaning the house or like something, that would be on in the background.
So it's a part of your stable diet, really. Right?
100%.
Yeah. That's the power of music. It kind of like, we can use it just to, if we're in a good mood, we think, okay, I'm in a really good mood. Let me take this mood to another level.
But I can also do the opposite as well. I'm having a down day. I'll be like, well, I'm really going to sit in this today. And I'll put on the saddest track I could possibly possibly find.
What is your
and I use
saddest
music that way.
track?
Oh, God. Saddest track, I would say, is I Don't Want to Play House by, what's her face? That sings Rose Garden. Lynn Anderson. Lynn Anderson. I love that song. I don't want to play house.
Why does that take you back to, though? Why do you... Why
I know, it's just sad, isn't it? She just sounds really sad. And it's like about a broken home. I don't know, just kind of...
But you know, that's with music, right? We have different drawers for different emotions. So I have like, you know, it would have been a record collection in the old days, and then it would have been a CD collection, and we know we'd go to that CD. Today, it's like, you know, we just say it and it comes on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And we have these go-to tracks throughout our lives. And, you know, it's like a stable diet of within fashion as well. We have outfits that really, we know we put it on and we feel like $1 million in, you know, and we'll go, we're having a really good day, so I'm going to wear this. Today's going to be great. It's all about me. I'm going to go out and look, you know, and it's the same with music. It takes us to that point, right? Let's move on to track number 2, which is the track from a film, which is important to you. And I love your choice on this one. When I read it last night, I was like, oh, I love her. Because you know, I kind of think it, you know, it's definitely a generational thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And although we're from different generations, right? Big time, you know, I relate to it so much because it, you know, I'm still 16 in my head, so I can fit into everyone's, you know, ratio when 100%. It comes to age groups and generations. So this track means it's probably as much to me as it does to you. What is it?
This is, I don't know how to spell it,
Lamal.
It's
Lamal.
Lamal. Never Ending Story. Like, it's such a good... This song is so nostalgic for me. Like, it's crazy. I used to literally run home from, like, nursery to go home and watch this with my sisters. Every single day after school, we used to all watch it. And then remember, you used to have channels 1 to 5 back then. You didn't have cable. Yeah. So, like, every Easter or Christmas, I just remember that being on telly. Yeah. So, that film definitely means a lot to me. It'll
probably be on about 3 times this Christmas as well. But, you know, it's one of those...
That or E.T. they always put on.
It's old-time classics. Do you know what I mean? And Lamal, he used to have this, he's still doing the circuit now, but he used to have this spiky hair in the 80s. And it was his identity. Everyone knew it was a Lamal haircut. It was like a feather cut with highlights.
Major.
And then he went bald and he was wearing the wig. He'd had the wig. And he'd wear the wig. And he still wears that wig. Major. When he's doing like, you know, PAs at Butlins and stuff like that. But, you know, yeah, again, another one that brought fashion into music because everyone wanted a Lamal haircut at the time. Right. What do you listen to when you're working?
So when I'm working, I usually like to listen to like grime or trap. So I've picked K-Trap Warm for this.
Why?
Because I just think that the British grime scene is the best. Yeah, but
why grime when you're working? So when you're pulling in looks and getting someone ready to go, say, for instance, Maya Jama or anyone like that, you're styling. When you're getting in on all of those clothes and you're putting those clothes onto the rails, you listen to grime?
Yeah. I don't know why. It's just the vibe. I just feel like it gets my head down and like...
Do you think it's because it's got like, because of the rhythm and it's quite an upbeat track, like music? Yeah.
Maybe.
That's kind of weird. It's kind of like... No, it's not
kind of weird.
It's not weird, but you know, because I mean, music's music.
I'm so eclectic. Do you think it's crazy?
Do you think it's because of the energy in that track?
It's definitely because of the energy. 100%. It's the energy, and I don't know. It just like I'm very London when it comes to my styling.
Yeah,
like, I'm very
of course.
English, and I just feel like, you know, obviously like the British grime scene is very London. So I don't know. I think they kind of just go hand in hand. It like gets my thinking cap on.
I love that. You know what I mean? I do love it, however weird I may find it. Because, you know, I would look at you and I think, not into grime.
I love grime.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tottering around in the boot.
I love literally, well, the first music I really started listening to myself and buying was like garage and so solid and stuff. So
did you used to go to garage clubs back in the day?
I did used to go to garage raves.
A major. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine that. Totally. Right. Okay, the next track, what do you listen to when you're creating? And I mean, I don't mean creating drama, I mean creating...
No, I know what you interesting. I like to listen to old 80s ballads. I work best at night, right?
Yeah.
So what I used to have on quite a bit was Mellow Magic.
I love it, man.
Right, so like one of the track I've chosen is K-Pow, China in Your Hand. because I just think it's such a great song. I love it.
Because I once said in an interview, you know, you'll never be lonely if you have Magic FM. And it's true.
It's true.
It's true. How can you be lonely? All you do is put that on, and all of those memories and all of those friends, because music is friends, tracks are friends. To Paul is a friend. You know, you know, it's like, oh, I'm going to this restaurant tonight. Oh, it's my favorite restaurant. You know what you're going to get.
Yeah, 100%.
So you go to music like you do to your favorite dress or your favorite pair of trousers or your favorite shoes, your comfy shoes.
It's true.
Your tracksuit.
I mean, I don't own any comfy shoes.
No, but do you get what I'm saying? No, we all do. We all own a pair of comfy shoes.
Ugg boots. There we go.
Yeah, I was going to, don't tell me about your Ugg boots. But, you know, we all have that we all have something for a day, you know, that we go to.
Of course.
And Tabal, I mean, look, China in Your Hand is such a genius track.
Such a good song.
She's so major.
I was actually going to put a bit of Nicki on here, but I didn't.
Well, but that's where fashion and music meet with someone like Nicki. You know, I think when you look back at... probably Carol Decker in her time from T'Pol was a style icon with her looks. But we wouldn't look at that back today and say, oh, I really like that. Because she kind of always wore the rolled up sleeve on the jacket, always pushed up three-quarter length.
Big red blow dry.
Yeah, big red blow dry and jeans. You know, that was kind of like reminiscent of that era. But, you know, you wouldn't look back at it and think, that's the fashion I want. I want to look like Carol Decker. More like a double decker. Right. Okay. What song best represents the sound of your studio?
So, again, when I was saying to you, I feel like my aesthetic is quite British in English. This woman, personally, for me, I think is one of the coolest women to ever come out of the UK. So I've gone for Nena Cherry, Buffalo Stance.
Which is amazing.
Because she's just cool as fuck. Like,
you know that in the middle of that track where it goes, what is he like? What is he like? That's me.
No way.
Did you not know that?
What is he like anyways?
Not know that?
No,
that's
the guy's
me.
a gigolo, man.
Yeah, that was me.
No way.
Yeah. So that's what I used to say all the time, like because I introduced Nena and Cameron, who's her husband. I introduced them in my DJ box. We were on E at the time. It's very well documented. She's put it out there, so I'm allowed to say it. And I introduced them to each other, and you know, I would be like, "Oh my God, what is he like? What is he like anyway?" And that's where that comes from. Okay, best, most important song you've heard from a catwalk show, and you go to a lot of catwalk shows.
So I didn't go to this one though, because I would have been a baby, just saying. But I mean, I know they're cancelled and all that, but the older stuff, we have to admit, is iconic.
Of course.
So I've gone for Suicide Blonde from the Dolce & Gabbana 1995 Fall Winter show, because to me, I don't know, there's something about that show that I can just relate to so much. Like, it's me embodied. There's a scene as soon as that song starts where I think it's like, Shalom starts walking down and she's got a fag in her hand and she's in this black tight silhouette and like she's just giving it. Epic.
Major.
Epic. I remember looking at that like as a teenager and just being like, that's what I want to be.
But, you know, 95 was kind of an era of catwalk shows in such a way. It was like such a... those 3 years, 94, 95, 96, were like where fashion really and music really collided.
The Westwood Cafe Society, 95 as well, like my favourite collection.
So it was really an amazing era, especially for fashion and music colliding, because we had all of what George was doing, all of what everyone else was doing, you know, Too Funky and all of that stuff later on, you know, the whole catwalk thing was just blew up again. You know, we're at the moment, we're in a different era again where fashion and music go hand in hand, but they don't when it comes to shows. People are trying so hard to make the clothes look great that they're forgetting what makes the show look great. The
story of the show, yeah, for
totally.
Sure.
And when back in those days, you know, when you look at a Galliano show, the music took you on that journey as well as the clothes, and it really did tell a story. And I think with this one, you know, the Suicide Blonde Dolce & Gabbana, it took you on a journey.
It did.
Total journey. And as you say, it's the simple things like just Shalom walking down.
It told a story of who that woman was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who that woman was that would wear that outfit. Whereas nowadays, it's true, people are more concerned about the clothes and telling the story about who that person is supposed to be.
So you look at the recent show, like Balenciaga show, in the dome with the snowstorms and the wind and everything. There was no music in that apart from background music and thunder and lightning. You know, if you'd put music to that kind of show, that would have taken it to a whole different level.
For sure.
It would have driven it. It would have made it uplifting. Instead, it was kind of just like, it was being in a major storm, which is what it was meant to be.
I don't know. I just felt like because the production was so big on that show, it took away from the clothes, and I was paying more attention to the snow and everything else than actually paying attention to the clothes. Like, I think it was overpowered.
I think for a reason, though. Have you been into Balenciaga recently? I mean, I love Balenciaga, and I always will do, and I wear a lot of it. But, you know, there's only so many tracksuits and so many T-shirts with the word Balenciaga written on that you can actually do. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God, really?
No, I know, but I do, you know, I love it.
I know you love it.
And I've got a whole house full of it, and I will continue to wear it, you know, regardless of what's going on in the world. You know, best music video in terms of fashion. This is always a good question. I love this question.
So me personally, I love a reference. So I'm constantly going back to old music videos. And I think that, well, this person just in general, Lil Kim for me, in her No Matter What People Say video, like, it's just so epic. So I was reading an article the other day about her stylist that styled her at the time, who was called Misa Hilton. And Misa basically had to create most of those looks that Kim wore because she was so tiny and she wouldn't fit into any sample. So they'd like pull a fur coat. But like in that video, especially, there's like a New York sequin two-piece that Kim's wearing. There's like an ode to like Marie Antoinette in that video. And it's like every single aspect of that video is so current now, down to the fact that girls wear wigs, down to the way the makeup is, the lashes. And Lil Kim was just the original and one of the first people to do that. So for me, when I go back to that video and I watch it now, it could literally be like it came out yesterday.
Which is kind of, you know, that's styling at its best, right?
So good.
You know,
timeless.
When you work with different clients, Carl, and, you know, the size thing comes into play. If someone is that tiny and you're pulling in clothes, you have to get a lot of stuff made, right?
100%.
Do you have go-to people that make that
Yes, I've
stuff?
got seamstresses and like designers and stuff that I work with, costume makers.
I saw a few things that you made for Maya Jama, that black dress, and you had that made from scratch, right?
The revenge dress.
Amazing.
Yeah. That was, so we worked with a Nigerian designer called Oloku, and she designs wedding dresses most of the time.
Yeah.
So that was the first time that she'd make something that was obviously black velvet. It was corseted, and that was just a lot of fun. So I took inspiration from obviously Diana's revenge dress, because Maya had just broken up with her boyfriend at the time and she was nervous about going. So I was like, babe, you've just got to look amazing. Do what Diana did. You can't go wrong. So we made a black velvet sexy revenge dress.
I love that, you know, that's the thing about it. People don't know the stories that go behind the look. Sometimes you see people on a red carpet and you think, oh, I don't like what they're wearing. Or sometimes you see someone and you think, fuck me, they look incredible. And there's always a story that goes with the way they look. Some people, you know, when they've just been sent the dress 100%. And they put it on and they've gone out in it that night because they're not feeling it. There's a difference between wearing something and believing it and wearing something because you have to and want to get photographed in it, and then it goes back the next day. To own something, you really got to own it, and to have something restyled for you and made for you. It's like if I get a suit and it's been completely been cut to size and you know it's been tailored for me. The difference between wearing something off the peg is incredible.
Yeah,
totally.
you feel incredible.
100%.
I think that's the difference between having style and not, though, if I'm totally honest, because having style, you know your body shape and you know what looks good and you know what fits you, whereas somebody will just throw in a dress and accept it instead of being like, okay, maybe if I just take up that hem at the bottom, take in that side a little bit, and it makes such a difference.
But you know, a lot of people can't do that because it's going back tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? The last thing they want to...
stitching, babe, do it all the time.
You know, it's like, but you know, Lil Kim, it's just like, it's such a great choice. It really is. Because it's another one. You know, another one, she hasn't popped up much on this podcast. And I sometimes think, why? Why is Lil Kim not? Because she's such a style icon on so many levels.
But also, I feel like she paved the way for so many people.
100%.
Like people like Nicki Minaj wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Lil Kim.
No,
you know,
100%.
like everything that she wore and got torn apart for, like when she did that mermaid look at the VMAs, when she had the mermaid stickers on her breast, like, that now would be so current and no one would say anything to her on the carpet. But at the time, she was completely torn apart for doing
completely
so.
cancelled because of it. Do you get what I mean? But, you know, it's like going back to early Madonna. You know, those trailblazing looks, people kind of were like, oh, my God, horrified by it, shocked. But yet today, people are still trying to do that look, but in such a diluted way.
100%.
And still thinking that they look better than Madonna
or thinking they're original when really it's like it's been done.
Yeah, totally, 100%. Do you find that hard to when you're styling someone and they come to you and they say, okay, I want to look like this, and you think, oh my God, this has been done a million times.
100%.
Do you tell them?
Yeah, 100%. And I've said to people that I don't think we're good for each other to work with each other, because I think personally, if you hire a stylist, my job is just to amplify what you already have. I'm not here to totally change who you are as a person, because that's not my job.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, then you need to go do that yourself. I'm here to amplify what you already have.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Okay, right. A song from a musician you'd wish to work with, either living or dead. I always say living or dead on the end of it. It's just like, for clarity.
Well, I just went with the OG, Bowie, Starman. This song means so much to me. I mean, like, Bowie is the epitome of where fashion and music meets for me, to be honest. Like, constantly mood board to this day. Like, even me with my bleached brow, you know, it's like, it's all Bowie references.
I do love you in a blue, I must say, in a baby blue eyeshadow that you normally wear quite a lot, and I love it.
I'm blue eyeshadow.
I think it's such a good look, strong look on you, and it is so Bowie. It's you know, but the kids today wouldn't know that reference. They wouldn't. They're not interested in that reference because they think they've done it first.
100%.
You know, and I think that's what's really sad about society today, is the fact that, don't get me wrong, not everybody's like that, but a lot of people really don't look at where it's come from, because they're so busy thinking that they've done it and they've created it,
100%.
and they're in the dazed 100, you know, or they're out there thinking that they've got to this level of like, I am fashion, you know. And what happens is when people get to that level and they've not done the history and they've not done the referencing, there's always a car crash.
100%. There's no growth there.
No, there isn't.
There's no growth.
And, you know, I kind of think when we look back at someone like David Bowie, who, if it wasn't for David Bowie, you know, the world would be a very sad place.
100%.
Because, you know, he went against all of those mainstreams. He wasn't saying, okay, I'm queer, I'm here. I'm a straight man. This is who I look like. This is what I am. There was no sexuality wasn't really brought into it because he didn't need to.
Which is how it should be. This is exactly how the world should be. Like, David had the right idea.
And when music and fashion collide in such a way like that, it's always, always, always going to be here. It's like, you know, it was such a massive, massive explosion that it's never going to go away. It's never going to be forgotten. But you know what? It's people that need to wake up and smell the coffee when it comes to people like Bowie. This younger generation that seems to think they don't care about gay history or pop culture or any of that stuff, and they think that they are the ones that are creating this. Need to look back on that and see how well it was done.
How their actual roads were paved for
but
them.
also, let's look back and see how someone did it properly.
Yeah.
Because you know what I'm saying?
No,
Because a lot of people,
100%.
they do it and you say to them, oh my God, that's so Bowie. And they're like, who? What?
Crazy.
It's not Bowie, it's me. And it's like, okay, hun.
Get out there and like, well, actually.
And Starman, such a great song on every level.
I love it. I mean, I love every Bowie track, but Starman for me is super special.
100%. I love that choice. Okay, 10. We're at the end of your choices. A track that represents how you feel about life right now.
So, I've gone for Marina and the Diamonds' Prima Donna Girl. Or was it just called Prima Donna? But yeah, I think this track sums up how I feel about life at the moment.
Why?
Just does. There's some lyrics in it that I love.
Why? No, I mean, listen, you know, what are the words?
She said something like, I know I've got a big ego, but I don't know why it's such a big deal though.
I love that.
Like, I love little lyrics and like that from her song.
Are you listening to it day to day?
I mean, it does come on the playlist, yeah. It worms its way in there.
You know what? I'm really shit at this job because I missed out one of your song choices. I've just looked.
You did?
And I missed out 3. What do you listen day to day? Because I was just thinking, hang on, I'm sure I saw Teena Marie on here and we haven't discussed Teena Marie.
Oh, yeah. I totally jumped her.
That's all right. We can, let's do, you know, which... we're gonna go back to track 10 in a minute, but I want to go back to right back to the beginning to track 3 with Teena Marie, Portuguese Love.
Love that song. Isn't it so good?
You know what? It's I used to play it on loop again. It's one of those tracks.
You have to. You can't listen to it once. You've got to play it at least 3 times.
And I'm not going to sing it because I did it on someone else's podcast the other day.
Sing it. You know you want it.
Martine Rose, and I was like, on a cold and winter's day in the Portugal. Oh my God. It's beyond.
You make... I love it. It's amazing.
But I used to hear that at People's Club. Like back in the day, I used to go to like after hours drinking club in Westbourne, like the People's Club down by down by St Mary's Hospital, and like just hang out there. And like I used to hear it all the time. That's where I heard it all the time. It was like, it's just such a feel good factor.
It really is.
And track 10 is what represents where you're at right now is exactly the same. Marina. Prima donna. You are a prima donna.
And I own that.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you? And that's
exactly.
That kind of says where you're at today, the fact that you're owning it. Do you get what I'm saying?
100%.
If you sat and said, I'm not a prima donna, how dare you? That would be, you know what I mean? It kind of just...
I'll be lying to myself.
We've gone from just being a stylist to this phenomenon that is Carnival. It goes beyond styling. You're now an ambassador for Kaleidoscope charity. I mean, that stuff doesn't happen overnight. That stuff comes from other people seeing you do well and you shining from inside out, not just like putting on clothes and thinking,
no, it's more than that.
It's about working on ourselves and it's about taking ourselves to the next level, and you've done a really good job of it. And I just want to thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Long may you reign. I say that to everyone at the end of the show because, you are a major player and you do it so well.
Oh, I love you, Tony.
Love you too, babe. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.